Hi, so I just wanted to talk about the Eurasian Atlantis Wars, especially since we're in a pinnacle point in the collective right now of everything that's going on. So I wanted to speak again about Eurasia Atlantis War. And it is a powerful, if esoteric, highly interpretive geopolitical and metaphysical framework that describes centuries on, even millennia spanning, really, civilization's struggle between land powers, Eurasia and the maritime sea powers. Atlantis is the sea, okay? It's not literal shooting war in every era, nor even every aeon. Like, this has been a perpetual, continuous Ouroboros cycle of this conflict, okay? So with the East and the West, and if you look at it internally, it's something within us as well, the dark and light, the negative, the positive, the yin and yang, like, of everything. That doesn't mean that the negative is actually completely negative either, but anyway, so it's not that, it's been like a hidden and great war, shaping alliances, empires, and conflicts from antiquity into today. The war has always been about a power grab with the East and West. And figures like Karl Hoscheffer, I don't know if I've pronounced his last name right, but he's really interesting. And he expands this into an occult dualism, order of Eurasia, and hierarchy and empires, forces of beings. And he symbolized by the Apollo slaying the serpent versus order of the Atlantis Sea, liberalism, individualism, finance, forces of oblivion. And also you will see that the West is very futuristic, and you'll see also, like in the older stories, that Atlantis was really into the science, and sort of like that, Ahrimanic deception talks about that too, that Ahriman is kind of the deceiver and he's into the science of everything. So though I see Atlantis a little bit more balanced than Ahrimanic forces, because they still do have a spiritual essence. The West does have a spiritual essence to it, so it's not completely, but I feel like it's been mixed with the East, so it's not entirely just the West. It has been mixed, and same with the East, it's also been mixed with the West, so it's not completely just one thing. So yeah, it's linked to Phoenician cults and Seth. They call it the eternal Punic War, or cosmic duel between Rome, land, and Carthage, sea, playing out invisibly across history. So Atlantis versus Eurasianism, order of Eurasia, and order of Atlantis, and so Shambhala and Atlantis. This is about a power grab for the new world. These are, what we're witnessing now is psychological tactics, the most powerful strategic simulation of the battlefield conflict we are witnessing. So that had been going on for quite some time. It's more like this simulation before the physical happens, and they always kind of do it. So the unmanifest to the manifest, and this is how this kind of creates, same with the COVID stuff, right? They always do the simulation. So when you look at Venezuela, they always use the resources too at first with wars. Like, there's always, I think, we see with Venezuela, there's an important country, because there's always tactics that they use. And I feel like they had been doing it for a long time. So with Venezuela, they were using this because they knew the importance this country was for trade for China. The US knew this, right? So it was important for this country to benefit from. And Cuba is even more important to both, And so that's when it started in Venezuela. Also, if you follow the White Rabbit down the Atlantis and Shambhala mysteries, it's really an eye-opening experience, believe me. Okay, so when you look at the East and West, right, the Atlanteism versus Eurasianism, order of Eurasia, Shambhala and Atlantis, you see the sacred geography on the basis of space symbolism traditionally considers, this is how the East, the ancient mysteries, how they see the East, okay, and why there is this conflict happening as well, because it's spiritual as well, right? So the East was the land of the spirit, the paradise land, the land of completeness, abundance, the sacred native land in its fullest and most perfect kind. In particular, this land is mirrored in the Bible text, where the Eastern disposition of Eden is treated precisely such as understanding, and peculiar also to the Abrahamic traditions like Islam, Judaism, also to non-Abrahamic traditions. Chinese, Hindu, Iranian East is the mansion of the gods. It states the sacred formula of the ancient Egyptians, and the same word East, like if you look at the word East, is Meta in Egyptian, meant to be the same time god from the point of view of natural symbolism. East is the place where the sun rises. So you've got to understand, so the East seeing themselves, this is symbolic, right? The sun rises in the East where it dies in the West. Okay, so it goes down in the West, and so they see that as a negative sign, okay? So the East was always considered the light of the world, the material symbol of divinity and spirit. the West has always been seen as the opposite, symbolically, meaning it is the country of death, the lifeless world, the green country, as the ancient Egyptians called it. West is the empire of exile, the pit of the rejected, according to expression of the Islamic mystics. West is anti-East, the country of decay, transition from the manifest to the non-manifest, from life to death, from completeness to need, etc. West is the place where the sun goes, where it sinks down. However, there's a deeper meaning too, where it's sinking into the ocean, like, because it is like the subterranean depths of water, of the ocean, and that's where it goes into that, like Agartha, right? The mysteries of Agartha. Like, look into this; it's quite fascinating and very interesting. That that Shambhala, like the East, was seen as the land, and the Atlanteans were seen as almost like sea creatures of the deep. But yeah, so the East has always kind of had this, even if it's not. It's in their celestial memories that, the West is evil, satanic, and non-spiritual, whereas the East is spiritual, and it's traditionalism, and it has its old teachings and things like that. But the West does have its own spiritualism, and its advancements in technology and sciences and integrated thinking. However, it's just a mix of these, and we're at a spiritual battle right now with this within ourselves, so it's complicated. But if you look deep into it, it really makes sense, and it's like, revelations. It's a revealing truth of everything, and God has this great plan, I believe, to make us self-realized. Okay, through all of this, it's all part of all these programs we have to deprogram. The tower moment of humanity, where old regimes and empires die, and the new beginning, the great new reset, the new earth, like the new. It's all like an age dying and a new age being born, and the mysteries of Jesus Christ, coming to earth, the Messiah. Like, it all links up and makes so much sense when you dive deep into this. Okay, so let's discuss more about and revealing the hidden secrets of the East and the West, Atlanteanism and Eurasianism, and why are they in a forever war? If you really understand deep spiritual understanding of things, you know that everything that is in the physical is also being pregnated from the spiritual. So everything has to be in the spiritual before it manifests in the physical. That's why I was talking about why they use simulation. Like everything, you imagine something, you know, that's what art, you know, artists or musicians or anything of the mind, even a scientist, has to imagine within his mind the theory, the thought, you know, has to be in the head. Okay, the crown chakra, it's in the head, it's imagined before it is created. And that's how manifestation works, because people keep going on about manifestation, like they know all about this manifestation, that you have to do this and do this, when all it really is just using your imagination and creating the manifest reality of that. And this is kind of where I'm at. All right, so why are they in a forever war? So when you look at Atlanteism, Shambhala, beneath the broad tide of human history, there flow this stealthy undercurrent of secret orders, which in the depth of the shape changes upon the surface, what I was just kind of, you know, talking about. Throughout the ages, the two invisible forces have moved beneath the outer shell of civilization, the spiritual order of Eurasia and the material order of Atlanteism. They are the East and the West, the two hemispheres of consciousness, ever at odds, yet forever intertwined, you know, they've always been part of each other. As I spoke previously, that even the West has the same thoughts as the East, and the East has the same thoughts as the West. They've combined and collaborated together in this collective, okay, consciousness on this earth. So even though one says, you know, as I was saying, that the East believes the West is evil, they still have these elements within them in the East. We find the land of the spirit in the East, the eternal dawn, the cradle of illumination where the light of the world rises. Sacred geography calls it the paradise, which I've already touched upon. The origins, the lands, the completeness, and the divine abundance from the Vedas to the Bible and from Egypt to Persia. The East has always signified the home of the gods, the native land of the soul. The rising sun is the emblem, the material mirror of divinity and spirit. The West, in contrast, bears the symbol of the setting sun, the descent of light into shadow. It is the realm of exile, the green country of the dead. That's what the ancient Egyptians used to call it. The kingdom of disillusion, where the manifest returns to the unmanifest. It is the domain of the fallen Atlantis, and when we look into Enoch, we can see the fallen angels are connected with this subterranean depth of the physical realms, you know. In Atlantis was underworld, it's the, you know, Agatha. When we look right into these mysteries, we can see this is very connected to this, okay? The spirit attuned in matter, the civilization of brilliance, yet forgetfulness. Thus, between Atlanteism and Eurasianism, there exists not merely a political or cultural tension, but a metaphysical war. This is a spiritual war between the two civilizations, intellect, civilization, and spirit. The Atlantean current moves outward towards expansion, domination, and the glittering illusion. So we're lifting those veils of Paracat of progress. The Eurasian current moves towards, you know, contemplation, as well as completion, because we to complete within the spirit, you have to go inward, introspection, you know, initiation and the inner fire of the soul. Russia, the heart of the Eurasian world, has long produced spiritual magi prophets of the in-between realms, souls of immersed gravity and inner vision. And as, you know, Colin Wilson, you know, he observed no other nation has birthed such mystics as, you know, some of these mystics that you've heard, like Blavatsky, Gurdjieff, and Rasputin. Each a unique vessel of cosmic intensity, each a messenger from the secret world, in the way Russia becomes the threshold between Atlantis, Shambhala, between the dying West and the reborn East, the meeting point of spirit and matter, decay and resurrection. It stands where the new dawn of humanity may yet rise. The map of sacred geography shows us more than countries. It reveals the inner landscape of the soul. The East is the eternal beginning, the place of spirit, the West, the fading echo of that light. Between them lies our task, to reconcile the two currents, to awaken the sleeping light within the ruins of Atlantis, and to remember the divine homeland of the soul. So there you go.